we have a solution. The Whine No Whine Show, where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour, where we gather people from all different walks of life and perspectives, and we talk about everything that everyone has told you not to. Religion, politics, and everything under the sun. Nothing is off limits, and we do it all over a glass of wine. So grab a glass and join us as we save America, one civil conversation at a time.
3, 2, 1, action!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Art of Dispute here in Art by Stassi's Studio 17 at Hardy and Nance. We have a great show today. We're going to be talking about racism and will it ever end. I have a great guest panel here today. We'll talk about art, we'll talk about promotional shows, we'll talk about music. At the very end we're going to be doing some music. I'm really excited about that. Let's see here. I'd like to shout out some of our sponsors here real quick. With myself, of course, and Art, Text Music and Art, and my partner in the show is Joe Orsak with Go 7 Life Insurance. So make sure you check out that if you're looking for some life insurance. Man's got the cheapest on the market. The Grain Cellar, thank you for the booze. Yes, and if you are looking for anything fermentation, you need to go out to the Grain Cellar and talk to my man Preston. He saw me look off camera, didn't you? Phil and Derek's Wine Bar, thank you again for sponsoring us, and Nicole Thalgy, thank you, and then of course Art by Stas. So we're gonna make sure you guys comment on this topic, the racism will it ever end, because we're gonna be reading your comments twice today, I believe, about 20 minutes in. So get those comments in when you can, and then we'll be addressing them. I'm gonna let our guests introduce themselves, and then we're going to come back and we're going to give our stance on the topic, and then we'll dive into some conversation. So, Steph, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Stephanie Pitts, or Steph by Art. You can find me on Instagram and Redbubble and Sci6.
How do you spell that?
Steph Pie, it's STEPHPI 3.14.
Okay. All right, and that's on Instagram?
Yes.
And there's like the other website you were talking about.
Those are where you can buy merch.
The merch stuff. I was looking at that like, I'm about to create my own account. Very cool. Are you in any shows coming up? Or?
No, I'm working mostly on production right now, so I'm taking a break from shows.
I know already.
So, yeah.
All right. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Go ahead, man. Introduce yourself.
Yes, I am DeWine Claiborne. Thanks for having me again.
No problem, man. I'm hoping to come back and do the exact same thing on your side here.
I know, man. I've been seeing so many amazing things about you, so I wanted to sit down and collab, because that's what it's all about. But yeah, I'm DeWine Claiborne. I work with Houston Moves. We do large community events, charity fundraisers, and so I'm all about giving back.
When's your next event?
We actually have a whiskey and wine festival September 28th at India House. It's to fight human trafficking fundraiser. You know, Texas is the #2 state, Houston's #1 city. So just really trying to tone in and let people know that we still have a lot of issues that we need to address.
I think I'm going to join you on that mission there, man. I'll be there live painting.
Yeah, and you're going to be there doing some live painting. Hopefully some of these other, incredible individuals can come out and showcase your talents as well. But that's what we're all about, giving back. All
this information, you're going to find it in the feed, in the events, on Facebook, and then you guys know we're on YouTube, so go subscribe when you can, But go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello everybody, I'm Sonia Atkins, and I'm a singer-songwriter with the band Gypsy Row, and I'm also a professional HR consultant. We are a very diverse band. We do originals and covers here in the Houston area. We've won a couple awards for our work and what we do, and we have been working pretty hard over these last few weeks on some new originals, and we're going to be debuting our new original on September 30th. And so y'all make sure you stay tuned and check us out on gypsyroad.com. You can also check us out on Facebook. That for us Not today.
You gotta try, man.
I know. But what we we are going to do for you today is definitely perform for you our original that was the original that we debuted our whole music project with, which is a true story about my upbringing up there in Northeast Texas. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later on.
I'm sure we will with this topic.
Yeah, but we're having fun, you know. We've got a lot of things going on. I mean, again, you know, just like Mr. Dewan over here with charities, we have one coming up in December that is near and dear to my heart as well, which is with the Alvin Food Pantry. A lot of people are not aware of how it was such an important part in the Harvey recovery efforts, not only for Alvin and Manville and Pearland and
the whole
south side of Houston that you're looking at, and it's a charity that's very near and dear to my heart and my family's heart. And again, like I said, we have this whole new single that we're going to be debuting, and this year we're working on our EP. So hopefully by the beginning of 2019, we will be releasing our EP.
Nice.
So we'll be making sure everybody gets a great invite to that as well.
Here. I get to hear some of that.
But we're confirming. And, you know, we all come from different walks of life, and I think we have something to offer Houston in the music scene that's a little bit different. You know, a little bit country, a little bit of rock, and just a whole lot of fun.
Good.
Awesome. I'm happy to have you on. And this is
I'm Matthew Gallegos, guitar player for Gypsy Row. I also do solo acoustic covers here and there, but I've been doing music for about 15 years, so in and out of bands, just happy to keep playing.
yeah. Heck yeah, man! You got something coming up solo outside of the
Outside of that, I have a solo gig October 27th at Easy Street Lounge in League City.
All
And
right.
I'm trying to book more and more.
Awesome, man. Very happy. I'll probably get that information from you so I can come check you out one time. Well, we're going to have you guys talk about the topic real quick. Give us your stance, you know, about 30 seconds, and tell us where you stand and if racism, if you think it'll ever end. I'll start again with you.
I would like to be an optimist about it and say that eventually it will, maybe not in our generation, but I do see people being more tolerant of others, and eventually, hopefully it'll fade out.
Yeah? Is that because of a reason, or?
Yeah, well, because I'm mixed,
Okay.
so, and my kids are...
So just the mixture's gonna...
Yeah, they're triracial, so maybe we'll just all be beige, and then we have to get over it.
I'm 32 different ethnicities.
32.
Well, technically, my mom's 16, and my dad's 16. They have a couple that are the same, but, you know, I have 5% African in me, believe it or not.
Really?
So, yeah.
believe it.
No wonder it was so cool.
Yeah. You're going to hear me speaking of Bonks here later.
So racist.
The wrong group with it.
This is going to be a fun episode.
Oh, yeah.
Give us your stance.
Yeah, so I think that I'm a little iffy in between. Like, I see what she's saying. Maybe in the future, but for right now, I think racism is still very apparent and strong. It's all over the news. It's always being highlighted. Of course, the news has a big piece in that because they show us what we want to see, or what we don't want to see, or what they want us to see.
The us versus them.
Yeah, right.
That's
Us
how they
versus
do
them
it. They
mentality.
pin you against each other.
Yeah, and so until we can collectively come together as a community and
Like this
change
show
it,
right here.
like
the
we're
we,
doing.
The we aspect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do, we need more like us.
Yeah.
But until,
Frontiers.
yes, until we could truly leverage that and kind of come together as a community, I think it would definitely be a revolving cycle.
All right. Yeah. I see your point there. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I agree with Stephanie, and then I also see some of Dewan's points that he makes as well. I am also optimistic and hopeful that maybe not in our lifetime, maybe our children's or our grandchildren's lifetime, that we will see an end to racism. I think that we do see evidence of some of that now, but because media, social media, humanity is so much larger than maybe that movement, that we, you know, don't see it right now. I believe that people believe in what they believe, and that they want to make it very well known, and whether that's in a hateful manner or in a civil manner, you know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of sensationalism in social media and in the media in general that will try to highlight that. But I do believe that eventually we will see that.
All right. Yeah, I see your point too as well. Go ahead.
I
Matt.
mean, you can be optimistic about it, but simple. I don't think there's going to be an end, because there's so much technology, so much media going around that
In that corner.
pins it and kind of,
Higher
be
up.
honest, idolizes it.
Yep.
That, and it's just thrown out there, thrown in our faces from when we're young to especially when we start actually watching the news, watching what they're saying, watching what they're talking about, and we start to believe it. And that's why racism keeps coming back, and even if it's not getting stronger, it's staying the same.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you a little bit on that. I kind of feel like it's just going into hiding. You know, they know that that people can see them now. So,
It still doesn't stop.
You know,
yeah. I mean, what do you think that would stop it? I mean, besides everybody mixing out.
I think education. It starts with education. You know, we can't assume that all children grow up in a home where they're going to receive that type of education that would show them more a love of humanity and acceptance of others who are different than them. So we have to go to what the next solution or system would be, and I believe that within our public school system we do have to educate our children in that, because we all have that responsibility. It starts with our future.
Yeah, kind of to piggyback off what she said, it starts with us and how we're raising our kids. You know, because all this, it's in my mind, it all starts from, your upbringing, what you saw growing up, what you would hear your parents say growing up. So really being mindful and allowing our kids to know that, hey, showing them what's going on in the world, but also open their eyes to, these are the unfortunate. We're very blessed right now, but it's other people who are in Africa or in a whole nother area that are really struggling. So maybe, like she said, that education and being more transparent with them at an earlier age will help them grasp it versus, when they're adults and they're already kind of set in who they are.
Very much right. I think I read somewhere that you actually develop your core beliefs in the first 5 to 10 years of life. So if you have if you are raised with that different mindset than being accepting of different races, then by the time you're 12 or something, man, it's over. You're already feel that way.
That though.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I'm half Filipino and half white.
That's just what I read.
Yeah. Maybe I'm an anomaly. I don't know.
That's not how I feel.
No, but my dad is white and my mom is Filipino, and for some reason, my mom, she was very Americanized when she came here. She wanted to be a white guy. And my dad saw us as white people, even though we're very brown. But I was raised in a very racist home, unfortunately. Believe it or not, yeah. And a lot of the things that I was taught, I grew up and I was a lot of the people, the things that I'm thinking,
this is not something we talked about before the show.
It's true. It wasn't until junior high or high school, whenever I would see things going on or people saying things that I would resonate with before because of how I was brought up, that I was actually that's not right. Or I would actually be in the category of the person that I'm talking about. So I actually saw it differently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm very
I kind of grew up the opposite, because I grew up on Seattle area, Northern California. There's not a whole lot of mixed races up there. I mean, there's a lot of Asian and some Mexican, not a whole lot of black people. I think I saw 2 growing up, in my school or something like that. And then I moved to Houston. Big culture shock for me. But that's when I started seeing the racism as much as I didn't see it out there. When I came here, it's just so prevalent. It's really crazy, especially in the construction. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I bet.
But it's, it's silly, but I don't know what that is. What do you guys think about it? I mean,
I think that it does have a lot to do with the way that you were brought up. I mean, I was born and raised up there in the Northeast Texas, Louisiana area. So
Viter? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
You know about
It
lighter?
follows me wherever I
Okay.
go.
Okay.
It's a really good
Oh,
thing.
you know, and I mean, I've been discriminated against just for the way that I talk, so to speak. But so I think that that's a whole, another thing that it's not just necessarily the color of your skin, but keeping it on point with racism. I do agree. I believe that it is. It starts with the way that we are raised, the belief system that we are taught until we can become at that age where we can get out there in the world and see.
How do we change the people who are already grown to teach the people that are growing?
With great effort.
Yeah, with great effort. So,
with shows like this.
Shows like this.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it, but I appreciate that. Honestly, what we're teaching is kind of what I try to teach to everybody is that soft stance. You don't have to be married to an idea, like my producer would say, and partner. You don't have to feel like your idea is completely right all the time, no matter how right you might think it really is.
Right.
To be accepting in other people's opinions so that you can adjust yours to your opinion and your life experiences. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to. How do we get out there and we show people that? I mean, I do it in my daily life. I try to do it every day. Every time somebody confronts me with something, as a paramedic, I get confronted quite often.
I bet. Good and bad.
Yeah, exactly. So, and as a safety guy in southern Louisiana, living on barges, it was a very big racist environment. The normal crews were very racist and talked really bad about any other race as soon as they left. And it put me in a very weird position because now I'm sitting there going, I don't agree, but I'm not about to tell you that because obviously you feel pretty strong. Like, Lord Almighty.
Right. Come protect me.
Right, yeah. I'm probably going to go out there and hang out with them. Like, wow.
That's really I want to be.
Yeah, exactly. And so what happened was I got to a point where we were doing penitentiary release program to work out of New Orleans. So a lot of black people coming out of New Orleans penitentiary. So they were sending us a lot of early releases, and so with the mostly family they were construction crew, very nepotistic, and then introducing what they would call the N-word, right, all the time, and so it was almost just like a critical. We're 2 minutes to destruction, all the time. So in that, I just kind of wanted to refocus on fixing it because that's what I like to talk about. I don't like to talk about problems as much as I like to talk about fixing it.
Need solutions.
So the way I did it when I was out there was I would come up to him and I'd say, "Hey man, so you're a perfect person." Like you've never made a mistake. You don't have faults of your own. So
You're not human.
Yeah, you're not human. It's just like you're not human. Just look at him straight in the eye. I'm pretty sure I saw you not flush the toilet. Because we're pretty close out there. Like 2 bathrooms, 30 dudes. Like I don't think it was you.
Not pointing any elbows.
But just bringing it down to a level that you can relate to and bring them perspective. It was just something. My mission in life.
And not belittling someone else's struggle.
Right, yeah, exactly. You don't know people's struggle.
Right. And I think it's really important to assume, and not to make assumptions just because a person is a part of one particular race or, maybe biracial, triracial, whatever, to assume that they know what it's like to be discriminated against, or they don't know what it's like to be
I've been discriminated against for a race I'm not even. Right? Like, I could pull off Mexican. Am I wrong? I could. No, I've been approached several times. Straight Spanish.
He's like,
no, I don't get it. But and then even then, I've had them being upset because they thought I was Mexican. They didn't know Spanish.
Oh wow.
And so
I get discriminated because I am Mexican and I don't know Spanish. So
there it is. Right. And so
it's not a real Mexican.
We pick on him all the time about it too.
Oh really? All right. So we're about to go to break, and then when we come back, we're gonna be talking about your comments. And so make sure you get them in now. I think one of our sponsors today will be Phil and Derek's. Yeah, all right. Phil and Derek's in Midtown, right by my house, which is like right across the city from here. So go over there because the jazz and the scene is just awesome.
It is. Great food, too.
We'll be right back with some comments, and then see you in a second.
Phil and Derek's Restaurant and Jazz Bar, located in the midst of bustling Midtown in Houston. You'll find a laid-back atmosphere and ambiance reminiscent of the comfort of your own living room, coupled with a flair of pizzazz and glitz from live New York-style cabaret entertainment 7 nights a week. Phil and Derek's is not only the ideal restaurant with a great, long-standing wine selection, but also with a full bar as well. Phil and Derek's stock and knowledge of wines from Napa Valley wines, French Bordeaux's, Spanish and Argentinian wines, just to name a few, are the envy of wine connoisseurs far and wide. Phil and Derek's Sunday Brunch was voted Best Morning After Brunch for 3 consecutive years. Come indulge in the ample buffet of crepes, omelets, various salads, meats, complimentary mimosas, and much, much more. Enjoy delicious foods from the kitchen until midnight. We're equipped with large dining areas, ideal for every party need, whether business or pleasure. Come see and enjoy all that Phil and Derek's has to offer.
Welcome back to the Art of Dispute. I almost said the Wine No Wine Show. That was close. Wow. Second episode, the Art of Dispute. Very excited about it. Just to get a little pitch. Might see us on TV in a little while. I'm very excited about that. But we're going to go to some comments here. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. And as soon as, there you go. Coletta, thank you for tuning in. She was on, Kalita. I always do that. Sorry, Kalita. Thank you for tuning in. She says, racism will always be here. Doesn't matter how we feel. There will always be differences, and people fear what is different, and they do not understand what is different. I feel like you're kind of right. What do you guys think? Who wants to take that one first? I see you over there.
Oh no, people fear change, and that's the basic thing of it. You see somebody that's different, you hang out with them, something's going to change, and so I get that. Like, people fear things that are different, people fear things that change. It's just how it goes.
I completely agree. But by changing things, you get people used to it, right?
Yeah.
I think that
Y'all want some more wine? I'm sorry, I was trying to ask that earlier.
Yes, please.
maybe in a
Bring it
minute,
this way,
yes,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
If
bring it
we're-
this
if
way. I
we're-
got it
there we
back
go.
here.
You
I'm
got
ready
it
to
over
fill it.
there.
I'm the waiter, the host. I'm everything here.
So I do understand
So we just a glass of
where
water.
Kalia is coming
for one.
from in regards to, people do fear change. Agree with that. But the way that what can we do to change that? I think that it's important when we have the blessing and the opportunity to be in a position to where we have a public platform, getting out there into the community. It is, hey, we have so many entrepreneurs and people who've invented things. If they started with the whole idea, I can't do it because someone told me that they couldn't, they told me I can't make it happen. Someone told me that at 48 years old, I can't be a front woman for a fast-growing band. I mean, I don't mind putting my
I
age
hope
out
you
there.
gave him
because-
something.
Yeah, because
Maybe
I
something
think
right
you
there in the
can't
middle.
say I think it's the word can't.
Yeah.
The word can't
Yes.
breeds fear.
Yes.
I believe the word can't breeds fear. So how can we remove the can't from it?
And I'm very big on words, so it's just like the word
Powerful.
Yeah, Proverbs 18:21 says, "Life and death are in the power of the tongue." So with that being said, we speak our future. Yeah, we do. We
Absolutely.
real do. I just got done with a book called The Law of Confession. And it goes to, how you basically, you say what you want your life to be. It's just like, we all have people who are negative, and so those negative people, it's no reason. I mean, stuff happens to them, you know. But
Exactly.
they're attracting that type of energy, and the words they speak is probably isn't the most positive. So sometimes I look at people's situation and say, I can understand that the way you feel that way.
And that goes to the social media and the news and stuff. Like what you
Right.
pay attention to, you're bringing more of that into your world when you're paying attention to it.
I
Cut it off.
I think everybody in high school should have to do 24 hours on an ambulance. If you want to see some perspective, go check that out. Go check
Oh,
out
I
people in
imagine
their worst
so.
moments.
You want to talk about life
Honestly,
and death and putting things into perspective.
White or red?
White.
I think that puts things into perspective when
Yes.
you're faced with those kinds of situations in life.
You gotta think
Definitely
on your
makes
feet there.
people
You gotta
think
be able to,
differently
you gotta
about their
think of
life.
change
Yeah.
differently.
And going with what Dewan was saying, you know, one of the things that I say, and again, I'm a singer-songwriter, but also as an HR consultant, I had this sign. I always would say to people when they would come to me and they would say, Sonia, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that. How can I make a difference in the world? How can I make a difference here at work? How can I make a difference in my community? You have to speak it, you have to believe it, and you have to be it.
Be the example.
Exactly.
I
You
just
can't
wrote that
just say,
this morning, actually.
I
said,
want
I'm looking
change
to
and
be
not do
the
anything
example.
about it.
Faith without works is dead. So at the
Amen.
end of the day, when you say you want to do this, and you're still sitting at home playing a video game, God forbid, just getting high.
How is
on
that
it,
new game, by
It
the
doesn't
way?
work. Oh, I just got the NBA 2K.
Oh, did you?
It's sweet. Yes, it's sweet.
I got you on that
That was
one.
a reminder to yourself not to sit at home and play video games.
I know. I'm going as soon as we leave.
I haven't
here.
turned my PlayStation on in like a year, I feel
We
like.
need to play against each other.
Oh, man. Yeah, you don't want none of this, man.
Right. You're probably right.
I want to bring just a quick comment. It says, my Joe comes on and says, but to Stephanie's point, so we're becoming more and more blended through interracial relations. Eventually, will we all be beige? So, wouldn't there be nothing but fear because we are all this? Nothing to fear because we are all the same. So,
People do fear different.
they fear
Yeah.
different, but
Eventually, it's not gonna be different.
it's not. To me, it's not the color.
Right.
It's the culture that people don't understand.
Right.
It's your culture. So if like I don't agree with certain cultures, certain beliefs, right? But if I know nothing about why they do them, I might feel like hateful towards that. Now if I go and so I believe in Asian cultures you don't look in people's eyes. It's not polite. You don't speak. In America it's hard handshake right in the eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do. In Asian culture, you don't touch them. You stay back and you don't look them in the eyes. You look down and you bow. So it's offensive as an American to come into their culture
Right.
and do that. So if you don't like something, it's because you don't know enough about it, right? Because they do that for a reason. There's a lot of people over there. You touch everybody, you're gonna get sick.
Yeah. I think it's culture and color, and I would say color.
Well, because the color goes along with the culture.
Right.
So that's their stereotype.
That's a generalization.
It's a
Generalization.
stereotype.
Yeah.
It is.
When I say color from a standpoint to where, like it would be. And honestly, I don't know you from today, but I would think in my mind it would be hard for you to realize, I guess, how I would feel when I get pulled over by a cop versus how you would feel.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So, and that to me is a color thing. Not necessarily. It's all entwined with culture, but I'm just looking at it from a color aspect.
See, in being in the emergency services, the color, you do have to stereotype. You have to. It's your safety. I'm not trying to say that they're right by being racist at all.
People
But what I
stereotype
am
all
saying
the
is
time.
there's been a lot of racial injustice both ways. And so when you approach another race like that with a gun on your hip, hey, here it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You
You're
have to
holding
come
as
at
you're
this
walking
thing.
up.
Right.
But you have to, no, it's because they didn't one time.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't
Everything has
hold
to
it
be
one
reasonable.
time and they got one pulled on them and maybe they died, almost died, or their partner died, or whatever may have happened. That's just the part you don't know. And that's that hard stance we're trying to teach is that, like, I'd never be a cop. I commend police. I could never be a police officer solely because you know I have a gun. I don't know you have one. You have the upper hand. And that's it. I'd be on the edge of my seat all the time. God, they know. Everyone I know you have.
Well, their
like,
life is,
you know,
their
like,
life is literally on the line every time,
Right.
you know, that they go out there to serve and to protect. And, you know, we do have individuals who may have different opinions about our public service and things and that. And so be it. Right.
I know I'm down to talk about that all day because I lived it for a long time, which, you know, no hard stances for me.
Right. Of course.
Right, and I do agree. I mean, I do understand. I can't understand, but I do understand where he is coming from. You have to empathize with it, and I think that that's the key is empathy. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
You
I
can't
may not
sympathize
have
with
walked in
everything.
your shoes, but I can empathize. I may not be able to completely understand where you're coming from, being in a protected race and the discriminations that you've potentially faced.
Right.
Just like someone can't say, well, you know, I'm a white woman, and have I ever been discriminated against as
Right.
well? I have. You know, we're looking in business, and it's hard. That glass ceiling. Have you
Exactly.
never heard that?
Sexism
Right.
is just the same
It's
thing.
exactly right.
The
But
unknown.
exactly, it comes down to empathy, and it comes down to responsibility that we have.
I agree.
Stephanie comes on here, and Stetson. Thank you for tuning in, Stephanie Stetson. She says some people grow up with it all around them and learn from what they see and how they do not want to be. And I completely see what you're saying there. So I agree right here with Stephanie. She says that, you know, I mean, I saw my parents do stuff, and I was like, I'm never gonna do that. Right? Like,
Right.
It's the same thing.
That's
right?
my sister.
If-
so
it's
I
you,
can
but-
I honest and I understand where she's coming from. Again, you know, growing up in a small rural town, which I love and
I
has a
did too,
great
believe
sense
it
of
or not.
community and everything, you know, there are definitely some prejudices that we possibly grew up with. I will tell you this, that it wasn't until I was 19 years old that I ever saw my first biracial couple.
Oh, wow.
Just like Chris, you were saying, you know, you lived in Seattle, and
It was
you know,
very uncommon.
It was very uncommon, you know, and I didn't see that, and getting out
Outside
into
of
the
Seattle,
world
small
and then
town.
in my profession and in music and in human resources and being exposed to that again, it comes back to the responsibility and the education and, you know, what are we going to do to be the point of change? I stand very firm on that.
I agree. It's like we can talk about problems all day, but what are you doing?
What are we
You
gonna do
know?
to fix it?
And I challenge some people who call themselves in my culture activists. You know, like, okay, you are, like, but what are you doing? Like, I see
Bringing
you-
up problems?
right?
Yeah.
Talking,
Yeah.
you
Stirring
know,
up shit?
starting up more stuff, or are you trying to actually put plans in place to fix it? You know, are you giving back? Are you serving? Are you donating your time? You know, are you trying to educate people on the issues? If not, then to me, you're not being an activist. You're just causing more ruckus.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
It's
my
against
another
it's
thing
against
on,
everything.
That's another thing on media. You got these guys, so-called activists, but they're not doing
Hear
anything
your
for
comments
change.
on
They're
this,
just
guys. We're
trying
gonna read
to,
another round.
Right.
You know, they're just trying, to be honest, collect a check.
Exactly.
And I mean, that ain't right. If you're an activist, you're going to do this for free because you believe what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing it to collect a check, you really don't believe it. You just want to
Policy.
make money, and you're
Joel
basically.
Osteen.
Oh, man. Look, I actually like
I'm
Joel.
going to leave that alone. That's a whole nother topic.
I like Joel. I read his books.
That's a whole
I like
nother
Joel.
topic for me. But,
He writes really
When
good
he-
books because he writes them for money.
but
He's a great motivational speaker.
He
He's a
is.
great motivational
He's a
speaker.
And you go wherever you're spiritually fed.
Exactly.
So I like
Each
to
their
read
own,
books.
right?
Mhm.
So what
But-
makes America great?
Yes.
But that's just it. That's like another thing on media. It's like they're out there, they just collect a check, and they're stirring up the pot.
It's pot stirs.
Yeah.
I
I'll
agree
leave that
with
one alone. Stassi Smith, art by Stassi, right there behind us. She comes on to say, I think you can acknowledge race without making it into a negative. To not see that they are different is silly. Not see they are different is silly. We should embrace our differences, but not make assumptions because of it. Oh my goodness. Well said,
I
Stassi.
agree.
Very
Well
well
said,
said.
Stassi.
That's
As
how we got
artists,
here.
we promote our differences. I mean, that's we take pride in them. And I just talking about this. Somebody told me I write, but I write about how normal I am. And I go, I don't know anybody who has taken a stance on normality.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And she
Which
kind
is
of came
actually
back with like, well, maybe I'm not that normal. Like, yeah. And so, like,
Till I met
Right,
him.
what is normal?
Right.
yeah,
What is
yeah.
normal?
Just
What
you know,
is normal?
she's different in stature, so she's a dwarf. So
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to relate herself back to people that like normal height.
Oh, okay.
And so when I told her, I said, well, I don't know an artist for their brand on being normal, and which is why artists work so well with our shows, because we all meld together and we're like, at the end of it, we all have the same idea. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But to her, it was trying to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be about the same as the transracial people. Transculture is what I would call it, transculture. They identify with a different culture, not so much the race. They're not, the race is something in your blood, right?
Mhm.
It's like, but it's not talking.
But I agree to, I think her name was Stephanie, who posed that question. I agree as well, because we are making a difference, because you got to look at it. All right, Houston is the most diverse city in the U.S.
Yes.
Right? And so with that, I believe that, we're the fourth largest, and we're pumping and thriving a year after Harvey because of the different diversities and embracing that. So I think that, that's one win for, the different races and in the community coming together collectively, So we just need more positive situations like that, like what we're doing. Because if you think about it, we represent everybody almost up here.
Absolutely.
It's a diverse
group.
we're here
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
business, of course. We're on the show, but we're going to do business adventures with one another. And that way, we're going to help bring in our different resources with one another and intertwine. So
Houston,
doing the
baby.
things
Exactly.
that,
Yeah.
I love
this.
like leverage diversity, which is what I love to focus on
Mm-hmm.
with any of my events. That's one of my quirks, is that we are going to always be very diverse. I think that's when you bring that together, that's when all the magic happens,
Right.
and those $1 million ideas.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
agree, yes.
And I think it's just not even Houston. You brought that about how we all come together. During the most catastrophic time that Houston has ever seen.
500-year flood.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
There was, at that point in time, race did not exist.
Oh no!
Exactly.
Yeah, you looked across that
Race
water
did
and you saw
not
a person.
exist, and people from all over the country, and I'm even proud to say people from my little hometown of Harleton,
I know.
Texas,
Mhm.
packed up and came down here for weeks at a time,
Wow.
to help people they did not know, not because of the color of their skin,
I was out
but
there.
because of the love of humanity, because
Mhm.
it's what we're to do through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
In my belief,
Right.
that is what we are called to do, and to serve one another, and to be an example, regardless if you believe in the way that I believe.
Exactly.
The fact of the matter is humanity exists, and it is the love that we should need to show. That's what makes a difference.
And
You're a human being. You're a human being.
Be
You're a
the
human being. I
example.
The
mean,
key
we're all
is
humans.
love, like
Exactly.
you said,
Mm-hmm.
loving our neighbor.
hmm
Do love.
And I believe
Love,
that
love.
Houston, you said that, we're fourth largest city. Houston, I believe, I've always said, and Matt's heard me say this before, I believe that we were chosen to go through that catastrophic.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe
To
that
be
that's the
the
way to the universe,
example?
to be the example.
Oh, yes.
And what an
I'm gonna
example to
challenge
the
you a
world
little bit
of
with this
love,
one.
and how there were no racial divides.
Right, it wasn't.
Where's the money?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Bring us some cash. So,
We got a
the,
fundraiser out. No.
here's what I want to challenge you. Early in the show, Dwight said the media has a lot to do with putting us against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So, the last time we had a hurricane in Houston, we evacuated. I was a paramedic for that as well. I was actually 911, and that was the worst decision Houston could have ever made. It put thousands of people on the
Lives.
freeways,
Mhm.
and they died there.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it. It was a real thing.
Was that tax day flood?
But you couldn't. I mean, the freeway goes to 2 lanes eventually.
Yeah,
You know, like in Conroe, where I was working. So, like,
It was
to be
terrible.
It was horrible. I mean, we were looking for white Dodges like 20 times a day. You know,
Mm.
it was crazy. And then you couldn't get to them because there's just 70 white Dodges on the freeway right
Right.
now. You know, like, why do you find them? Nobody's waving you down. You know, just how do you even get on the freeway when it's all one way?
Right.
Exactly.
So we were having big challenges with that. But to bring it back to my point, the next time we had a hurricane, we did not evacuate, and you saw the media coverage was not about the negative, because the last one there was way too much negative.
Yeah.
So the media only covered the good this time, which because I was in it, saw that.
Mm.
So
That's a good point. I never thought about it.
so
that
just
way.
to challenge your thinking, I want
Hmm.
you're thinking that we came together so well. But was it because that's what you saw, or
Well, I think it's
yeah,
because
just
of-
trying
yeah.
to bring that back into perspective here.
What I saw, and actually what I also went out and did. So I was actually blessed enough not to get affected. It's like God had a hedge of protection around my
God,
neighborhood.
my parents' house too, man.
Yeah, but
Just the
literally
house.
one street over, right? One street over, they were flooded, you know. And so I just thank God for that. So immediately I went and started going and gutting out people's houses. You know, I was helping them pull out all that sheetrock. You know,
A lot of work to be done.
Yeah, I probably worked on maybe 4 or 5 houses, but that's because I'm grateful. I want to help. You know, I'm you know, happy that I was blessed to make it through. But now, what can I do to go help someone else who was less unfortunate?
Oh yeah, we were riding around my neighborhood in big trucks, finding people.
So they were
medic
showing it.
patch.
They were showing it on the news,
Yeah.
but I feel like if you were actually out serving and helping too, then it has a deeper impact.
Isn't it amazing how when something affects everybody, everybody,
Oh, people.
everybody comes together, right?
Right.
It affected everyone. Instead of, oh, well, you know, it just affects them. It doesn't matter to me. Or I don't agree with you and I don't walk in your shoes, but I can have my opinion on it very strongly. I think,
Right.
you know, it affected everyone. It was not a discriminative
No.
or prejudiced situation. And again, I think it was one of the finest examples that this world has seen in this century.
I think you're right. It
alone
was very well.
Of
I did see
that.
looting. I did see that.
Yeah.
It did happen. But
Yeah.
I just want
It
to
could have been
bring it
more.
back to your point earlier. Was we just didn't cover it.
Yeah.
The media did not cover it,
exactly.
Yeah.
which is good because they didn't create panic and more looting. Because as soon as
Exactly.
one person leaves,
Exactly.
loot,
Ripple
right?
effect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, oh, they're doing it. I'm gonna go do it. It's
Right.
like, I might take
Yeah,
part
I
myself.
think
I'm
that
just kidding.
because that good, you know, it was such a crisis. I mean, I think that because the United States had never seen anything like that before, and it was a big eye opener for even the media. It's like, where was the sensationalism for them if they had been focusing on, you know, what was bad? Let's talk about how bad that would have
Well,
been.
the Katrina was another example of that when they were focusing on all that looting,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then more people looting,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like,
then
I'll
the
tell
whole,
you-
on that
like
one.
they're all stealing stuff, man. I'm gonna go get my piece,
Right.
right?
I'm
Like, yeah, like-
gonna tell you, my dad was a water rescue during Harvey. Do you think I cared what
I'm water
color of
rescue.
skin the person
No.
was that threw him that
Never did.
lifeline? I
Right.
didn't, because it just didn't matter. Just didn't
Well,
matter.
And you're
Humanity,
right there, and
love
that's what being an EMS taught me was the perspective aspect was everybody's a person.
I think
Everybody's
that's
a
it.
person.
You have to realize that.
But we're gonna go to break. Make sure you guys comment. We're gonna come back. We're gonna address those comments, and then we're gonna address the topic in the comments. Racism, will it ever end? We want to hear your thoughts because even later in the week, we want to hear you. We want to come back. We want to talk about it. You know, we have groups. The Whine and Whine Show group. The Whine and Whine Show is who puts all of this into action. I coordinate a lot of it with the Whine and Whine Show, and so their group is actually I heard it called a safe space, but it's actually a space where you can learn to be safe in your thoughts. So go over to that or dress them down here. Either way, just be sure to voice your opinion. We want to hear it and we want to come together. When we come back, we're going to go to some art, talk about art. I'm talking about shows coming up, talk about music. So at the end of the show, we're going to have another live performance, and I'm really excited about that. So make sure you stay tuned and address some comments. We're going to go to commercial break, so we'll see you in a second.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, Joe Orsack, host of the Whine No Whine Show. And I'm here with my special new guest, Dean DeBassi, brand new sponsor of the Whine No Whine Show. Can't wait till he gets to tell you all about himself.
Hello everyone, my name is Dean DeBassi and I'm with First Choice Loan Services. We close all of our loans on time. We have great rates and low fees, and we have push button get mortgage. All right, just kidding. Just kidding. In all seriousness, folks, we are a boutique mortgage lender, and we lend in 49 states. We choose not to play in the commoditized lending world, such as push button get mortgage. There is no such thing.
Hey everybody, this is Paul Compton with JLA Realty, Houston's fastest growing real estate team, and I'm very pleased to announce that I'll be opening a new office in Spring, Texas. One of the things that I depend upon with my business is being able to refer my clients to a lender that I can trust, because that can be the difference between them being able to buy the home of their dreams or not being able to buy a home at all. So, I've always referred my clients to Dean. He always takes care of them. If you're thinking about getting a home loan, do not go with one of the big guys where you're just going to be a number. Give Dean and his team a chance.
I am a certified mortgage planning specialist. Less than 1% of all your originators have that designation. So, if you are seeking a mortgage and would like to experience a true boutique mortgage experience, please call the number below or go to DeBassiLoans.com. Let us show you why First Choice Loan Services is leading the mortgage lending industry.
Okay. Hey, welcome back to the Art of Dispute. We are about to talk about some art and some music, but I hope you guys got your comments in about racism and will it ever end, because we're going to come back later this week, and probably tonight, and address some of those comments. Steph here, she is an artist. I'm going to have her explain her art. I'm going to ask her some questions, and then we're going to go over to Dewan.
Yes.
Oh, I knew that. I said it like 4 times already.
It's all good.
Just a little flustered, that's all.
No problem.
And then we're going to go over to some music. Dewan, that's how you remember it.
Told him like 10 times.
Steph.
No.
Yes, though, really, though. Steph, where do we find your art?
Right now on Instagram and
Instagram.
Redbubble Society 6.
So that is in the link in the comments at the very top. If you can't see it yet, you can see it later, or go to the event page and you can find it, or just type it in, Steph Pye Instagram. But what is your inspiration for your art? What is your purpose in making it?
Well, the purpose in making it, well, I don't even know if there is a purpose except for self-therapy that just turned into more than a hobby.
Right. That's how it worked for me too.
Right?
I became an artist.
But my inspiration most of the time is literature.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a nerd and I like literature, and I get inspired a lot from passages. Turn it into pop surrealism, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Pop
So
surrealism.
what was your last passage that you did in what book or writings or whatever?
The one that sticks out is the Emerson nature essay. I do a lot. I'm really obsessed with Ralph Waldo Emerson. I feel like he's like could have been my soulmate. Too bad he's dead. But I actually do a lot from him. I have like a whole book of all of his essays, so he actually inspires me a lot. And there's also a lot of like self-illusions in there also. So
When you say self-illusions, you mean
almost all of my art has like
grandeur of yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Bigger than
Everyone
I am?
paints themselves.
You know, I'm like 6 foot tall in real life.
Right. Me too.
So it's the style is like a pop style.
Yeah, it varies a lot. I try to go from I don't really do a lot of abstract. I play with it every once in a while, and I just don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's figurative, pop
Okay.
surrealism.
You use acrylic, oil paints.
Oil paint.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice. It's all mostly on canvas, using panels.
Panels, wood.
Okay.
Yeah, canvas, all of it.
All right.
Whatever I can get my hands on.
You're available for commission.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Yeah.
And on a review.
Yeah, yeah.
So if it's a passage
Select
from her
commission.
favorite author,
Yeah,
she'll
right.
probably take it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for
and
having me.
no problem. Be sure maybe post some of your pictures of your art into the event.
Yeah,
And
sure.
because the event's everywhere, and they're gonna see it. Actually, most people see us later on. So right now we're probably 10 to 20 viewers out there. Hello. But by the 2 weeks end, we'll have about 2,000 at least.
Exactly.
Yeah. So get it to them. And Dewan, I got it right
going
that time.
on? You did, man. You're getting better.
Every day.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself, man. What you got going on?
Yeah, so DeWine Claiborne, I do big events and festivals out in Houston, and then with every event, I have it catered toward a good cause. So trying to bring more awareness to different issues. So I have a whiskey and wine festival that's coming up September 28th.
It's in the event. It's in the comments.
Yes, it is, and Chris will be here.
I will.
And with some other artists. And so it's a fight human trafficking initiative. And so, like I said earlier, Texas #2 state, Houston's #1 city. So we'll have some of the local nonprofits that will be there who every single day they fight to help those people who've been affected and have those trauma issues, because it's
there's a lot of them.
It's really deep once you get to putting yourself in their shoes. And so
that's just down there, man. It's just couple hours that way.
Exactly.
Man.
Yeah, it's just so close.
The cartel, man. That's all I'm talking about. The
Yeah,
people.
it is. Hey.
And my buddy over here looking like, you're racist. That's not what I meant. I just meant the cartel is down there running some stuff. That's all I meant. There's bad right.
Let's educate them. Let's educate them.
I deserve that. Look, thank you for that.
We're gonna tell you, you can't make that comment on the 28th. No,
I didn't mean it like that.
No, we're all family though. But it's a
Sure.
great event for a good cause. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite. Just type in Whiskey and Wine Festival. You can go there. You can follow our Facebook page, Houston Whiskey Events. All the updates and everything that you need will be in those details. And November 24th, we're actually starting our first scholarship fundraiser. So we have a big bourbon masquerade ball on November 24th.
Bourbon masquerade.
Yes, bourbon, all the bourbon that you want from all over.
Bourbon and masks.
Yeah,
I like this.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, so get your
I
masks.
collect masks.
See?
And hats.
Perfect.
Masks and hats.
You are already ready then. But yeah, that's going to be Thanksgiving weekend, November 24th. So hey, when you have people in town, family in town, you eat your Thanksgiving food on Thursday, then the leftover Friday. Come on out and do something different on that Saturday. So we'll see
Get
you
out of
there.
those stores, please.
Yeah. Perfect birthday gift.
Yeah, buy local for sure. Come
Yeah,
on,
all
buy
locals.
local. Support your locals.
All
Good
locals.
Lord, I can't stress that enough.
Yes.
But we're gonna go over to some music. I appreciate you coming on,
Hey, thanks for
Juan,
having
man. I
me.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm gonna be on the Successful Minds. That's
yes.
right. Yeah.
Yes, we'll see
So
you.
go over to Successful Minds. You'll see us live. Maybe live. Is it post-production?
It's gonna be live. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Come see us.
Another live web series.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. I'm all about it.
All about making moves.
That's it. Oh, I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
So we're gonna go over to Gypsy Rose. They're gonna play us a tune. But first, they're gonna talk about how you can find that tune and maybe their next event. Take it away.
Yeah, well, we are Gypsy Row, and that's REAUX. It's French Creole, and it means keeping it real. And that's what we are. We're a music project that keeps it real. We like to keep it real not only in our music, but in our lives and everything that we talk about, and especially like what we've talked about today. We come from different walks of life, from different genres, backgrounds of music, but what we do believe is that music is a universal language, and it tells a story. And so this song that we're going to bring to you today is just that. It's a story about my life and my mom and her sisters and my grandmother growing up there in Northeast Texas. It is available on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, all of those different places that you
Anywhere you can
get
download.
it, right?
Anywhere you can download music.
Right. We've got on September 30th at Red Rock Studios, we've got a special live Gypsy Row production that's going to be coming up. We're going to be debuting our newest single, so make sure you check that out. Stay tuned. We also can, we're going to be performing, October 6th? I think
October
weekend
6th.
That's right.
At Daryl's place in Santa Fe.
Exactly. But if you want to see a full lineup of all of our shows that we have going on, you can check us out at gypsyrow.com. And again, that's REAUX Row. And you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. We are on all of that too. So make sure you come
All
out.
that is in the comments.
In the comments, send it out. Read below. Read below. Okay? Read below. But we hope you enjoyed this. This is titled Ferguson Road, and it is by Gypsy Row. Ferguson Road. I plowed with a horse and I ain't on me. Little white farmhouse barely could breathe. I learned these kids now don't go down on Ferguson Road. I know what it means, you see. Go ahead and write the songs about me. And I know I've got a country, so I got mine on Ferguson Road. We're drawing water from a well. Didn't know we were poor as hell. Washed up as in an old wood stove down on Ferguson Road. I learned hard work won't kill me. From sun up to sundown, pecking them peas. No stranger to the Bible or the bell. Down on Ferguson Road. I know what it means, you see. Go ahead and write the songs about me. And I know I've got a country, so I got mine on Ferguson Road. Me and my sisters piled in one bed, or sitting in a pew, bowing our heads, thanking our God for this life that we know, down on Ferguson Road. Or sipping on my uncle's muscadine, or gospel singing on Saturday night, sleep with the windows open wide. I got mine on Ferguson Road. Nowadays people making money, pretending to be a little country. But I know I've got a country soul, 'cause I learned mine home, Ferguson.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so good. Alright, where do I get that? I don't pay. I don't pay you. Can I give you cash right now?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. There is so much more to that song in the full electric version you can find. You can
full
find
band
it
version.
full band version of Ferguson Road. Mr. Matt, he goes shredding on that electric guitar in this song, and I think what you'll find is it's a little bit of an
I bet you
infusion of
can
that
shred,
southern
bro.
rock and blue and red dirt
I like the
country.
acoustic.
Yeah, the acoustic sound great. If
So
you don't
we
have
hope
an
you love it.
acoustic version
So,
now,
yeah.
you do
That's
now.
dedicated to my hometown of Harleton, Texas, Ferguson Road, my family. I'm gonna tell you what, that's near and dear to my heart. We have other originals, like I said, just be, stay in tune to our webpage, to our Facebook, to our Instagram, finding out how you can come and listen to us, and you can purchase all of those things on
Yeah.
YouTube. Get out there and support your local music, y'all.
Yeah. Local
Definitely.
artists in general, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, everyone,
Support your locals.
Music is the universal language. It doesn't matter where you go or where you're from. If music is fine, music is what speaks to the heart, and I truly believe that. So that's what we want to be. It's a conduit of that, right, man?
Yeah.
So, what do I gotta do to get you to play another one?
Oh, well,
I'm just having fun with you guys. What you need to do to hear another
Can
one
we
is
put
go to
Gypsy
their
Road?
website, go check it out,
Yeah.
and we'll have them back on for another show.
Oh, that'd be great. We would love it. Thank you so much.
No
We
problem.
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, guys. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Make sure you tune in next Friday to the Whine No Whine show, which is no longer the original. Just kidding. It's always original, but there's no artist edition. We're now the Artist Dispute. Friday at 5, and then I'm sorry, 6. We meet at 5. Goes live at 6. I'll probably be behind the scenes. You just won't hear me. But
Sure they won't.
well, maybe they will.
Yeah.
Oh man, but guys, thank you for commenting. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you to the sponsors, and
Thank
I'll
you.
see y'all next week, same time, same place. Art by Stassi, Studio 17, Hardy and Nance.